PK. Welcome to this
Hi,
13th edition of this Regal Live Series on pure coaching, where we discuss some of the nuances of professional coaching to help coaches coach better, coach to their full potential, make a commercially successful practice out of it, and also achieve the very reason why we all get into professional coaching, especially those of us who are full-time professional coaching. PK is a practicing coach for over 10 years now, and it's a pleasure, PK, to connect and discuss the topic for today, which is cultivating trust in coaching. Now, cultivates trust and safety is the ICF competency number 4, which was discussed in an earlier edition where Anirudh hosted John Sarao. So we are going a bit deeper here. So just as setting the context, I'm just reading out what ICF defines it as. It says partners with the client. So there is a partnering from the definition itself to create a safe, supportive environment. Now, I like the word environment, right? Because we all are products of our environments, not victims. Supportive environment that allows the client to share freely, maintains a relationship of mutual respect and trust. So, PK, what does trust in practical professional coaching mean to you? Some opening remarks, and we'll build on that.
Sure. Thank you, Subash, for having me in today's live. See, cultivating trust in coaching, and we are familiar with it in terms of CC4, coaching competencies, 4 of ICF competencies, which you briefly described it, which primarily deals with it in the coaching session. A perspective that I would like to discuss or I would like to share is that cultivating trust actually starts much before the coaching session in a business of coaching. When we run a business of coaching, when we are a professional coach, it starts at the first touch point. When we touch a prospect, either through digital or through word of mouth or in any other means, actually the client's journey starts there with us. So the trust or lack of it is felt at each touch point, each moment since then, up until the chemistry session and also in the chemistry session. Yeah. So before we get into our first coaching session, a lot of attention is needed to this, I think. So as a coach, we need to look at cultivating trust in a more expansive way, in a larger context than what we understand it as a competency in the session.
Correct.
What happens in the session is only a continuation of what happens prior to the session. Yeah. So we should not lose sight of this reality.
Building trust prior, and there is a cracker that was burst behind.
There is something happening
So I think
around
that
street.
underlines the prior
The
interaction
timing.
is so critical. The timing is so perfect. Yeah. So coaching is a relationship, as we always maintain, and every interaction is a building block, right? I always say it's either +1 or -1. There is no binary 1 and 0. It's either +1 or minus. So anything specific that we need to consider, building on the point that you said prior to, some tips, 2-3 things that you need to be very careful before we even meet the client or the prospect for the chemistry session.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, cultivating trust starts much before the coaching session. Even the way we present ourselves in the digital world, in the forums, wherever, whichever way we are touching prospects. So First and foremost is the awareness that cultivating trust is a conscious and continuous process, right from the first touch point, right through to the conversion and to the coaching sessions. So that is the first step. And also, Subash, it's a step-by-step process, and at each step, cultivating trust is important. So being aware of that, getting to know it and acting consciously, therefore, is the first and foremost step. The second, I think, is to align our visibility, marketing, and communication efforts with cultivating trust. Starting from our digital presence, what the prospects see and feel of us in the digital space, to our LinkedIn and other social media posts and interactions, and such other acts that we do in a usual business. Authenticity, definitely.
Absolutely.
Consistency in messaging, commitment to the chosen segment, relevance of the content that we share. All of this helps in creating and cultivating trust. So I would say we need to align ourselves to cultivating trust in terms of visibility, in terms of marketing, in terms of communication, whatever we do with regard to our business, because it touches prospects at multiple points, multiple times. Third is the sales process, Subash. The way we convert. The sales conversations are difficult for well-meaning coaches, most of us. Sales conversations are kind of alien and we are not used to it. It doesn't come naturally to us. So the sales conversations that we have with the prospects, especially in the chemistry session, there also it needs to be aligned to creating and cultivating trust. So the point that I would try to make is that what we do continues into the session. It's not that the cultivating trust is a coaching competency for a coaching session alone, is what I am trying to impress upon. It starts much earlier in a business of coaching. To me, cultivating trust is a series of actions that we do as a professional coach and its cumulative effect as how it manifests. What happens in the session is only a continuation of all that happens before the session.
Very true. Very true. So, viewers, listeners, if you have any question, I'm looking at the phone. If there are any questions here, even if it doesn't appear here, we would like to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, or even an alternate point of view, we are open to debate. Whether it is authenticity, the marketing, the way we are visible, even how we present ourselves, just picking up some of the key points, trying to demonstrate some listening, and then the sales process. Everything matters. So I remember Piki long back we discussed in the context of social media presence, whether we get leads or not from our social media efforts, people do look up. They do check it's like the first level of KYC that we do in banking. I think intuitively people look at who are you online. So to that extent, I think that online persona means the personal branding element that we cover in some of our programs is very critical. Now, I really want to pick up this thread down the sales process itself. So, Vicky, within the sales process, what I find among my mentee coaches is they don't follow a process. How can you be in sales if you don't have a process, right? Whether it is follow up, the right amount of follow up, the right kind of messaging, anything else, any pointers on that, the do's and don'ts that you would share within the sales process to build trust, yeah, in the context of cultivating trust.
Sure. It's a good point, actually. You know, as we discussed, right from our digital presence to each and every touch point that happens with a prospect who is a stranger at that point in time, the way we engage with the prospects and their world, and the way that leads into a chemistry session and into the sales conversation thereafter. Cultivating trust is a continuous process in that sense. If you really look at the way it happens, Subash, what we are trying to do in a business of coaching is how to make a stranger believe in you,
Yeah, very true.
and how to convince a stranger that you are dependable, you are reliable, and you will hold confidentiality, because they are going to share things that they have never shared with anyone. And how to convince them that your services would help them find solutions, and how to make them believe that you can be trusted. It's not a small thing,
Absolutely.
and it doesn't happen by accident, definitely. It happens by design. So, to answer your specific question, how in a sales process, in the sales process alone, it's not possible.
Hmm.
So, what we do prior to sales is very important, such as how are you positioning yourself? Are you committed to a particular group? Are you consistently messaging things that are beneficial for them? Are you genuine?
Yeah.
People tend to judge the service providers on various parameters, but there are a method in the madness, and definitely we can get a stable, consistent, relevant communication messaging, and therefore a kind of positioning. And as I always say, in different contexts, but point comes to that, I cannot be that for 140 crore people. I can be that only for a select set of few thousand people.
Very true.
So it is extremely important that we focus on a particular section of society and address their concerns and be available for them to be finding solutions, and as a coach to them. I can coach 140 crore people through coaching principles and coaching methods, but I am choosing to service a certain set of people, not for coaching reasons, but for business reasons, so that I can become relevant to them. And when I continuously communicate with them, understand their environment, then they start trusting you. Oh, this fellow is investing his life on us and people similar to us. We need to invest for somebody to trust. We need to invest
Absolutely.
in terms of our time, efforts, content, and we need to give more. We need to give more than what we take. And that is where it all starts, Subash. If we
Hmm.
just look at CC4 as a coaching session competency, we miss the bus.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way. What happens prior to the session also flows into the session. The trust that they have before the session is flowing into the session. And we cannot hold trust just within the session. And we can't ignore the things that needs to happen and the trust that we need to cultivate prior to that. That might be a myth.
Hmm. And it goes even beyond the session engagement into the relationship, right? Beyond the session. Yeah.
Yes, and the relationship starts with the first touch.
Yeah, very true.
We don't know where we are touching them, but they will definitely know where they are getting touched by us. We won't know it. For example, which is my first test to a prospect, I will never know. I get to know, if at all, after a lot of time.
Thanks, PK. So sales process is integral to cultivating trust in a coaching engagement, in a coaching relationships, even going beyond the engagement. And Praveen, such a delight to see you here. I'm wondering whether you're logging in from US or are you on a vacation in India, wherever you are. God bless. PK, you want to take us in this digital world? Where should one draw a line with regard to transparency with data?
Okay, everyone believes in building trust through transparency.
Transparency.
In this digital world, where should one draw a line with regard to transparency with data? See, for coaches, transparency needs to be looked at from a different lens, because we also have very stringent confidentiality responsibilities. So, probably the word I would choose is that we need to be authentic as possible when it comes to digital world, because the digital persona is by created by perceptions that the digital world sees us, and they can't touch and feel us. Yeah, they can only see and hear us. Now, a few sessions ago, Subash, I think we discussed about getting the blogs and articles written by someone. When we were
Yes.
talking about visibility, you remember? So we were
Yes.
discussing about in the website to get content and for content marketing as well, whether we can get someone else to write the content.
Yes.
And my view is there in that video anyway. The point is, we need to be authentic, because authenticity breeds trust.
Absolutely.
And that's very important in digital world. We need to be authentic, and we can't be compulsive, and we can't afford to be sidestepping, and we need to be as authentic as possible, as conscious as possible. But if our way is that, probably that will reflect on the touches that we do and things like that. I am not saying that authenticity should be artificial. The authenticity as I am, probably it needs to come out as much as possible, and definitely we can take help from people, but still we need to decide what to go and how to go. That is one part of it. Second is transparency. In terms of transparency in digital world, anyway people get it, because today we are absolutely very few clothes on us in the digital world. So all the more important that we can be as authentic as we can be, so that the trust doesn't get shorted or short-circuited.
Thanks, PK. Praveen's presence also reminds me of a point that we keep sharing in our coaching context or coach mentoring context, is that you can get trust only if you give trust. Just as empathy, we don't get a lot of empathy these days as adults because we don't give empathy. Trust is same. Yeah, trust but verify, as Ronald Reagan famously said. So to that extent, I think it's a lot easier to give trust and then perhaps gain trust. The last 1 minute, a lot of these things, the finer nuances, all aimed at mastery in coaching, also to make coaching successful commercially, and to build the brand persona of you as a coach, are the elements that we cover in our program Coaching Unlimited, that PK and John Sarao, who had come in some of the earlier episodes, and we kind of do this together. The next edition is at Mumbai. starting in September 22nd evening. So we check in on 22nd evening, 23, 24, 25. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
February.
I know it's February. Yeah, thank you. We just have a CEO from our community who's a very busy coach who had come to our previous, episode at Jaipur when we had done this at Jaipur last year. He had attended. Thanks to that, he had the CCUs for renewal of ICF, and he just completed his mentoring yesterday, and he finished the submission. So if you have an ACC, PCC, or MCC for renewal, there is no way that you're going to delay the submission, because it kind of dilutes the spirit of ongoing learning and all the effort that you have put in, energy, money, and otherwise, to get the credentialing. It's not only your time, energy, effort, and money; it's also your family's time. So don't dilute the process of continuous learning that ICF expects, and we coaches should abide by. And also renew it before time. You can apply 6 months before. Why do you have to even wait for the last month, if not the last week? Yeah, so you get 38 CCUs from this. It's open to coaches from other schools like EMCC and some of the other popular schools, but it helps if you're a trained coach, not necessarily even certified coach. Yeah, so we close the registration actually pretty much today, and we start the the pre-work from 1st Feb. So anyone sitting on the fence, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We are happy to connect even tomorrow, though it's a public holiday. Yeah. PK, anything you want to add? We are, just in time.
Yeah, just to bring that awareness that the cultivating trust starts much earlier than in the coaching session.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, PK. Thank you for joining. See you next week, same time, 9 a.m. India time, for the next episode of the LinkedIn Live Series. Thank you.
Thank you, Subash.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Bye-bye. Bye, PK. Good night.
Sorry, February 2024, 23rd to 25th February 2024. I take this opportunity to welcome both our guest speakers for today. As an executive coach for the last decade, Subash is the founder CEO of Regal Unlimited, and he has helped several senior leaders scale up their leadership quotient and has aided them in assuming the roles of their dreams and leading happy lives. PK has been a CEO coach for the last 11 years. He helps CEOs and business leaders scale up their businesses and enhance their leadership presence to position their businesses for long-term success. So if you're a coach looking to become a coach or are just curious, this series is for you. Over to you, PK, for your opening thoughts on Coaching Unlimited.
Thank you, Anirudh. And talking about Coaching Unlimited, I think we have been doing this for around a couple of years now. And you mentioned about the program in Mumbai. This is the 5th edition. So Coaching Unlimited is designed to be a 3-day residential program aimed at enhancing one's coaching competencies and business skills so that one could become a commercially successful coach. As you mentioned, it's a challenge for coaches who are competent, coaches who are skillful, still struggling to build a coaching business, struggling to establish a coaching business that is sustainable. So Coaching Unlimited, the key purpose is to help grow your coaching business, so that you could touch and serve more people. As you may know, Anirudh, the world needs coaching. You know about coaching, and the world needs coaching to make more people function from a more resourceful state, to find and use their own potential. So just to get the focus back to the Coaching Unlimited, essentially there are 4 parts to Coaching Unlimited. The first one is to become the best coach that I can be by enhancing and perfecting the coaching skills and competencies in practical terms, with practical life, real life experiences, real life examples, which in turn enhances the client experience. So when we become the best coach that I can be, it definitely enhances the client experience, and that leads to more business. Creating a space for oneself, that is the second one. This coaching arena, as you know, is getting crowded, and the awareness in the market is not as much. So creating a space for oneself in the coaching arena is very important for being a successful coach. So this can be done by finding and accentuating my positioning and differentiating myself at the marketplace, which over a period creates a brand for oneself. So this is the second most important part of Coaching Unlimited. The third part is growing revenues by increasing leads flows, by improving the conversion ratios, doing an effective chemistry session, and so on and so forth. So we have quite a bit of those things covered in the Coaching Unlimited. The fourth one is for earning 38 meaningful CCUs all at one place. So this helps ICF credentialed coaches to renew the credentials, and this Coaching Unlimited is offering 24 core CCUs and 14 RD, research development CCUs. So that is 38 meaningful CCUs all at one place. So all in all, Coaching Unlimited helps coaches become commercially successful.
So now, Mr. Subash, I have a question. Thanks, Mr. PK, for sharing your thoughts on that. The three of you have, including Mr. John, have been involved in since the genesis of Coaching Unlimited. So Regal Unlimited has trained and mentored over 400 coaches, and you have played most important role in that. Then why Coaching Unlimited? What led to the idea of Coaching Unlimited?
So, it was just a casual conversation with PK that, we were kind of brainstorming about our coaching practice. So we exchange notes, share this, we exchange everything that we do in the case of the practice. So this came up saying that, how coaches lose that edge or the sharpness over a period of time practicing. I think that happens with any professional, any artist. So, and coaching is both a science and an art. So I think the blending of that sharpness can happen much faster. And I can say this for myself, though I am active both as a coach and as a mentor for coaches. I think somewhere, we lose some of that specific edge. So that was the genesis for coming up with this, and where, we roped in PK to be a partner, and John was participant in the first one, and we felt John can add tremendous value as both a mentor and a practicing coach, and it became, a joint effort between three of us who are practicing coaches with our own style of coaching. We are three different people, by the way, right? But that's what brings us together and gel together. So that is the background. Now we started in April 2022 at Elegiri. We have moved to Chennai, Bangalore, Jaipur, and now we are coming to the commercial capital, Amchi, Mumbai. So every edition has seen an evolution. So, what was 26 CCUs earlier is been upgraded to 38 CCUs this edition. And a lot of other elements have come in. So, based on the feedback, based on the inputs, based on our own, we spend so much time deliberating, brainstorming before and after. We are fine tuning it. Last point, there is nothing like this for coaches in this part of the world. And this experience is very unique for practicing coaches. And this is something that you must go through if you have to improve your coaching quotient. Back to Andrew.
So PK, Mr. PK, one of the things you mentioned was that it's brilliant sentence. There's not much awareness about coaching in the market, but the arena is getting crowded. So, coaching quotient is definitely one thing that Coaching Unlimited deep dives into. So, if the awareness is not so much, and if the arena is getting crowded, how can a how can a coach be commercially successful when there is so much competition?
That's a good question, actually, Anirudh. The point is, the crowded arena is both a challenge and an opportunity. As much as we coaches are chasing clients, there are also clients chasing good coaches and struggling to find a good coach. And as a coach, the best that we can do is to help them to help find us. So if we need to help them to find us, so how is that possible? So that is where the possibility comes that we can position ourselves in a manner in which we are visible to the prospects that we are chasing. And there is a process for that. It is pure marketing and marketing and communication science, putting that into work for you. And the second part to that is that consistently adding value to that segment. Yeah. So you are being seen as a resource person who can be a resource person, not in terms of subject matter, I'm saying, but in terms of person who can help them find solutions. Yeah. You don't necessarily need to have solutions. That is the differentiation that we are talking about coaching. You don't offer probably necessarily, but they get a feeling that they are searching for solution, and if they come to you, there is a likelihood of getting that. And it is our responsibility to create that feeling in them, and that is what makes us visible when they are searching for a solution or for a coach. So by differentiating ourselves in the marketplace, when first of all positioning ourselves, as we said earlier, and then differentiating ourselves so that they are able to see us. So there are ways and means of doing all this. It might look like a Pandora's box from outside, but it's not that complicated. Once we get the process in place, these are not difficult things. Probably they are unattempted things, but not difficult.
So to build on
Just
that,
to add,
Mr.
Anirudh, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, please.
PK said, just as we are looking for clients, clients are looking for us. One. Second, I can give a good experience to a client who is ready, that we all know. Only when the client is ready, client gets the benefit of coaching. But attracting the right client is also very critical in the practice of coaching. So that's why the marketing quotient and the branding quotient is very important. That you identify your niche, you kind of attract the right kind of clients, so that you can deliver every session. The best coaching that you can give, or the best coach you can be. Yeah, just to supplement to PK's point.
So I wanted to actually build on that. One is identifying the value and consistently identifying the segment and consistently creating value so that you stand out and the clients seek you. Uh, so a question to both of you would be now, given that there are so many coaches who may be doing the same thing, there is always the threat of somebody underpricing your current price point. How do we deal with that? And how does Coaching Unlimited help? Because one thing, because I'm associated with it, I know we do go deep into pricing also as a part of the overall business strategy.
Sure.
But what can we, without going too much, Mr. PK and Mr. Subash, what would you say? How does how do you combat the threat of underpricing?
See, underpricing is an issue only if we are playing in a market that is commodity. Yeah. If we are in the commodity market, underpricing is a threat. But if you are in a place where it is value is perceived. Anirudh, I had an experience 2 months back. I got a new client for my scaling up, area, and they said that they benchmarked many coaches. They said 3, 4 coaches, and and they identified me, and I was the most expensive. And in their they were quite open. After 3, 4 sessions, they got the value, and they said that now we know that we made the right choice. And they were saying that I was twice higher than the next highest person. So what do you think about that?
So as long as you're very sure of the value you're creating,
That's
and
it. So
confident.
we need to create that perceived value, Anirudh. The point is, value is very, very subjective. And unless you are able to create that perceived value, affordability to pay is one when we talk about pricing. Willingness to pay is another very important part. So unless we are able to kindle that, unless we are able to touch that and make them feel that this has the value, and we are still paying only a part of what they are going to get in return, which coaching is actually, it's a minuscule that the investment that they make, and the benefit always overweigh the investments they make. But how often or how well are we able to convince our prospects about that? That determines. So first and foremost, I need to answer you is that we need to move out of commodity market. And coaching is the in a market, it will be of all sorts. I am not making a judgment here. When you say a market, and there are the diversity is very much part and parcel of the market, and that is what offers an opportunity for conscious players to be present where they want to and make a difference through a differentiator that is visible and identifiable by the prospects. Once you have created that, the benefit is that it starts feeding you with constant leads consistently. So you need to engage with them, you need to be relevant to them, and you need to be visible to them. And that's how a sustainable business is built.
So, Mr. Subash, to build on that, my question is, since Mr. PK and you started this, we have seen that one of the biggest challenges that comes in closing, if I may say, deal, is the chemistry session. And knowing you personally as one of the textbook introverts, over the years, what has changed and how important is the chemistry session, the impact on it from facilitating coaching on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So, all of us coaches are in this profession because we want to touch lives, make that big impact. And that's what we do every day with our clients. So, as I said earlier, attracting clients become very important to give that good experience to make the big impact. So, if you have attracted the right client, the next step is logical step is how well you close the deal. Whether it is making the pitch, classical pitch, or having that first conversation, which is all comes under broadly the discovery or the chemistry session in a coaching jargon. So how well we do that is very critical. And for between John, PK, and me, we have been exchanging, especially John and me, because PK does the bit on chemistry. It has been such a reflective practice for us that we have been sharpening the saw ourselves. Personally speaking, for myself, I can see that how there is a shift in the way I do chemistry session. So much so, I can see a big improvement in my conversions. And as I'm still a sales guy, I'm a career sales guy. For me, once I make the pitch, make the first step, classical introverts set in if I don't close the deal. So the opposite to that is such a sheer joy when I close a client or a prospect whom I feel is right for me. And of course, the prospect also feels so. So the chemistry session plays a very important role, which though covered in our course training programs and people think that they know, I don't think there are a lot of areas that needs fine tuning there. So that is my personal experience as a practicing coach, just to observe, being as a participant during the workshop. By the way, coaching unlimited, we are not trainers standing there and giving gyan. We are as much participants in every module and contributing, and the collective wisdom that comes out of it is something that makes it unique also, right? Which is not so much in the case of coach training and mentoring, but here we truly become co-creators, all three of us. So, to answer your questions or to summarize, it's had a big impact, very positive impact. I'm more confident to say the least. And I come with 20 years of experience. I'm a confident salesman, but it has helped me to fine tune my chemistry sessions. And my success rate is almost 100% now, touch wood.
So, gentlemen, we're at the end of 20 minutes. Even this live time just flew by. Quickly, if I may ask, if you have any closing thoughts and interacting with both of you, I have a closing comment too that I have perfected over time.
Yeah, I would say coaches deserve to be successful and coaches deserve to be commercially successful. And our purpose is to make as many coaches and as many practicing coaches as successful as possible.
So, if you want to be commercially successful and keep sharpening the coaching quotient, you can't afford to miss Coaching Unlimited next edition at Mumbai in Feb 23 to 25. Back to Andrew.
So, dear viewers, thank you for tuning in today. Just to anchor, Coaching Unlimited is purely to help coaches build a successful coaching business. Because there is, if I may take the liberty to say, there's enough coaching business, and most of it is with those who are confidently commanding a premium pricing. And we also have those who are not doing well. So, what does it take to get to that league? Coaching Unlimited may be the answer. Your successful coaching business is built on three pillars: coaching quotient, business quotient, and branding quotient. We have a webinar tomorrow from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You'll find the LinkedIn event on our page. Please tune in because it's a 1 hour session. Today, due to paucity of time, we couldn't go deep into what all we intended to speak about. So please do tune in tomorrow. Thank you everyone for joining us today. See you next Thursday. Before that, see you tomorrow from 8 to 9 p.m. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Anirudh. Good night.